We're going to see about the Selenium important topic and syntaxes. In the Selenium, we have something called as WebDriver commands. And in the WebDriver commands, we have browser commands, navigation, web elements, the find element and find elements, handle checkbox, handle radio button, drop down, and we can also handle the dynamic web tables. We'll see the syntaxes and the details in some time. There's also a concept called as locators and XPath. Something like Selenium locators, inspect element using the web inspector, inspect elements in Chrome, XPath, Firebug and Firepath, and we can also write effective XPaths, the CSS selectors and everything. In terms of switch, alerts and windows, we have wait commands. For example, implicit wait, explicit wait, fluent wait, and all those stuff. Advanced WebDriver waits. We can also handle the AJAX using the JavaScript executor. We'll see that in a bit. We'll also have window handle, something like get window handles, switch to frame, and all those stuff. Pop-up and alerts. We have something like alert.accept or dismiss and all those stuff. Handling iframes, again switch to frame and all those stuff. We have something called as action class. Action class is nothing but click, the mouse over, mouse drag, whatever actions you're doing. So we have separate class, action class in Selenium. We can do right click and double click in Selenium, drag and drop in Selenium, mouse hover action, the tooltip in Selenium, keyboard events, whatever you're going to press on the keyboard, that all comes under the action class. So for example, Selenium WebDriver browser commands. So we have how to access the WebDriver commands. In the WebDriver commands, we will be initializing WebDriver driver equal to new Firefox driver or new Chrome driver or whatever it is. So now the driver is the alias. Once you say driver dot, these are all the WebDriver commands. Something like driver dot close equals find element, find elements, get whatever you're getting, for example, the get current URL, get title, get text. Also few important things are get window handle and handles. We also have navigate over here. So for example, if you want to navigate back or navigate forward and everything is there in the WebDriver commands. We also have close and quit in the WebDriver commands itself. Switch to is another important one, which we want to switch to a frame or switch to an alert or pop-up or something like that. We have wait. Even this is also in the WebDriver command. The implicit wait, explicit wait, and the fluent wait, everything will be in the wait. So for example, we also have locators, and here are the top 8 locators. The CSS by ID or by class name. We can also find by the name, that is the element by name. We can also find it by the DOM structure, something like the XPath. By tag name, we can also do by link test, by partial link text, and all those stuff also we can do it in the locators. When coming to the exceptions, the most common Selenium exceptions are something like no such window exception, no such frame exception. The most common is no such element exception, invalid selector exception, timeout exception. Again, the most important thing is the element not visible exception, all those stuff. In the browser commands, we have something like get command, get title, get text, get current URL, get the page source, the close command, quit command, and all those stuff in the get command. Navigation commands, we can go back, we can go forward, we can refresh the commands and all those stuff in navigation. In web element, so for example, you have already located some text or some element. For example, the submit button, that is an element, right? So once you identify a submit button, we can do click, we can do is selected or not. For example, in the radio button, we can do is selected or is enabled or disabled, like that. If there's a text box, once we identify a web element, we can play around with it. For example, we can say click, we can say clear with it, or we can also get the CSS value of it. We can get the get attribute. The most important thing is the send keys. we can type some characters in that with the help of the send keys. And there's a text box or there's a button. The most important thing is submit. We can do submit or we can click and all those stuff, right? So here's a snapshot of the 8 locators. Driver.get current URL is the most important thing. Driver.get title, driver.close, driver.quit, and all those stuff. Okay, the rest we'll see it in the remaining videos. Thanks.